Hey guys, what's up? It's Tom doing another installment of Getting Started with Cloudy. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at the pitch shifting mode and the looping delay mode. So, stay tuned. What does the pitch shifting mode do? It's kind of like the granular mode where it takes a piece of audio from what you're playing, it makes a copy of it, and then that's the only grain you're hearing along with your dry is one large grain, and then it pitch shifts it based on the pitch knob. Pan, verb, and feedback all do the same things that they did in the granular mode. Size. Now this takes your audio buffer and it kind of offsets it. So all the way down, it'll be almost right in line with your dry signal. And then all the way up, it's kind of offset. So it gives the buffer a little bit more time to catch up when it's shifting the pitch. Position. Now that kind of acts like delay time like it did in the granular mode. What does density do in this mode? Well, it diffuses that audio buffer. So it kind of smushes it out through some filters. What does texture do? Texture is a low pass filter this way and a high pass filter this way. And then at noon, it's not doing anything. Starting with position down, size down, density down, pitch, mix, texture, all at noon. These guys all the way down, and you hear my voice. Now, you can hear that audio buffer is right on top of my dry voice. If we change the size, we can see that it's offset. And if we change position, changes the length of the buffer. So with everything on top of each other, we can do some really cool pitch shifting. And we can go all the way what?
There's not much latency there, but you can go pretty low. And if you change the size, it adds a little bit of latency, but it does really smooth pitch shifting.
And adds some diffusion. So now it's a bit diffused. Now let's play with the freeze. You can hear what I'm saying? Oh. What is that weird sound? Well, we froze our buffer and we're playing back a very small size of it. That's why it sounds like a buzzing. So let's play with that. So there you can see that you can kind of hear that it's a clip of my voice. Also, this is where diffusion can be added. So that's cool. Hear what I'm saying?
Sorry guys, I've been sick lately.
Okay, next mode is poofy hair. No, it is looping delay. So what does this do? Records what you're playing, and when you hit freeze, it loops it. It's pretty much just like a delay, and then when you hit freeze, it plays back the audio buffer. Now, how much of it that it gets played back and what gets played back is controlled by these two guys. Size pretty much controls the size of the loop. Position controls where you are in the loop and what you hear. Density, that acts like a diffuser, again, like in the last mode. Texture is a low pass, high pass filter. Okay, and when you're not frozen, position pretty much controls your delay time. You hear my voice. Now we freeze. Now. Okay, so the size is at half. So we're getting pretty much half of the buffer played back. Now we freeze. Now we're hearing that full buffer being played back. Freeze. Now we freeze. This is no diffusion. Now we freeze. And lots of diffusion. Now we freeze. 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 Now I'm underwater. Now we freeze. Guys. Now we freeze. 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 Now our speakers are broken. Now we freeze. Now we freeze. Now we freeze. Now we freeze. Now. Okay, and if we shorten the size of the loop, position will have us scrub through that loop. Freeze. Now we freeze. Now we freeze. One thing to note about the feedback is that if you have it turned up, every time the sound repeats itself, it's getting reprocessed through the pedal. So if you have the pitch turned up or down, every time the sound repeats, it's going to get pitched up again or pitched down again. Kind of like the Earthquaker Devices Rainbow Machine. So let's try that out. Very short delay, and we'll turn the feedback up quite a bit, and it should sound pretty weird. Hello, my name is Tom. Hello, my name is Tom. My voice is descending. Hello, my name is Tom. Hello, my name is Tom.
Hello, my name is Tom.
Hello, my name is Tom.
Hello, my name is Tom.
Hello, my name is Tom. Hello, my name is Tom. So I think we can get away with playing some music through this thing since it'll make it sound pretty weird. So I have something selected here. Alrighty, now that we've done that, got this song, let's hear it. Okay, it's pretty good. Okay, that's pretty cool. What if we just want to use that one little fill there? Okay, and another cool thing with this mode that's kind of like a secret is if you hold down the freeze button, and these lights will start to blink and it'll play the loop back in reverse. So that's cool. So some other cool things is while you're playing with it and you change the position value, you'll get some cool sounds like this. What? What's going on? Huh? What is that? What even? Okay, some other things to note here. If you change the audio quality, you're going to change the maximum loop time. So let's go second quality. This is 2 seconds. Okay, now this is a much longer loop. 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 Okay, this is a much longer loop. This is a much longer loop. Longer, much. This is a much longer loop. This is a much longer loop. Loop. Okay. Now let's go even longer. You'll notice in this 4-second loop time, quality gets much lower. Much lower. Okay, now we have a much longer loop time. Okay, now we have a much longer loop time, and it sounds worse. A much longer loop time, and it sounds worse. A much longer loop time, and it sounds worse. Okay, a much longer loop time. Notice that the audio quality only changes a much longer loop time, not the dry signal quality. A much longer loop time, and it sounds worse. A much longer loop time, and it sounds worse. A much longer loop time, and it sounds worse. A much longer
loop time, and it sounds worse.
Okay, and now also see that when we change the pitch, it also changes the length. So unlike the last mode where it transposed better, this one changes the loop time as well as the pitch. A much longer loop time,
And it sounds worse. A much longer loop time, and it sounds worse. A much
longer loop time, and it sounds worse. Okay, that was cool, but now let's go even further. Longer loop, a much longer loop time, and it sounds worse. Now this is the maximum 8-second time, and it's going to sound even a little bit lesser quality. Okay, now this is the maximum 8-second time, and it's going to sound even a little bit lesser quality. And it's going to sound even a little bit lesser quality. Okay, so now, excuse me. Okay, now we're going to have a really long loop time. Are you ready? So now, excuse me. Okay, now we're going to have a really long loop time. Are you ready? So now, excuse me. Okay,
now we're going to have a really long loop time. Are you ready? So now, excuse me. Okay, now
we're going to have a really long loop time. Are you ready? Okay, now we're gonna have a really long loop time. Now we're gonna have a really long loop time. Okay, now we're gonna have. Okay, now we're gonna. Now we're gonna. So now. Oh now. Excuse me. Oh now. Excuse me. Okay, now. Excuse me. So that's a look at some of the other stuff in this thing. I think that's just going to be it for now. So